Well, welcome to the future. Welcome to Bitcoin. It's a great pleasure to be back with you. Special greetings to all Bit2Me community. Today, we are very excited to talk about LimeWire, a legendary company that in the early 2000s changed or set up a new way of exchanging content via internet, video, music, and much more. And well, lots of things happened since then. Things move forward very quick with the rise of cryptocurrency, as you all know. And today, we are going to have Marcus Feistl, who is the Chief Operating Officer at LimeWire. That is the company that is developing all this new ecosystem. Marcus, it's so great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. And we're really sorry we need to do this in English. I think my Spanish is just not good enough. Probably good enough to have a drink, but not good enough for the interview. Yeah, but thanks for today.
I think we could fix that. If you come to Spain for a couple of months, I'm sure you will speak very fluent Spanish.
Yeah, let's grow this Spanish LimeWire community first, and then I'm gonna join you guys in Madrid.
Totally. Well, Marcus, I'm sure most of our audience heard about LimeWire and its origins. We are going to go deep in these details, but before, we would like to know more about you, about your trajectory, your background. So tell us about you.
Sure, I'm happy to. Yeah. I mean, I'm originally from Germany, as you might hear by the accent. My background is really in the tech space for quite some time. So I founded a tech startup in London a couple of years back in 2017, and then moved on to the typical management consulting career at the Boston Consulting Group. And then before I joined Bitpanda, I was already working in the crypto space for quite some time. So I was working for Bitpanda, which is also quite active in the Spanish market, especially in Europe. I was leading the Germany, Austria, and Switzerland as the country manager. So really scaled a crypto company before already. And now about like a year, 1.5 years ago, joined Bitpanda, joined LimeWire as the Chief Operating Officer after Bitpanda. Where we now a bit deeper into the rabbit hole. Even before I was really selling crypto and selling crypto investments, and now even more technical with NFTs and digital content in ownable formats. So yeah, really excited about this one now. Yeah.
Well, that sounds fantastic. You have already a history, some years working within the industry. What was the step or the reason you get involved in this space? You mentioned about the rabbit hole that everyone in the cryptocurrency space, we have our own history. What happened to you? What did you discover that made you feel passionate about this ecosystem?
Yeah, it's actually quite a funny story. So I really, my very, very first touch point with crypto was way back. There was like in my teenage years back at home when I actually wanted to buy some Bitcoin. Everybody back then was still only talking about Bitcoin. There wasn't anything else. But my mom didn't give me her credit card, which is quite a pity. Yeah. So at some point I forgot about it. Didn't really work much in the crypto space for a couple of years until 2016, 17 again. So in 2017, I really started privately to also invest into crypto and dig a bit deeper. Then obviously burned my fingers with the first bear market after 2017, where all the prices went down again, but was completely hooked. So since then I was really looking into the crypto space quite intensively, and then also for that reason joined Bitpanda and now LimeWire. I think it's really an amazing space, very, very fast paced. You can develop products and communities super quickly. And it definitely, as you just said in the intro, it's definitely the future. So yeah, 100% into it.
Well, that's amazing. We all get involved, even with our personal time. It's very hard to disconnect, no, and separate these two lives because it's so interesting. You learn about so many things, technical side, economics, and new ways of engaging with communities. That is fantastic. So let's move into LimeWire because probably most of our audience, they already know about the company. But could you tell us about a bit more in detail about the journey since the company started in the early 2000s and where the brand is currently?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting story. In my opinion, it's like, for me personally, probably the most exciting project I ever worked on, because LimeWire back in the day, from like 2000 to roughly 2011, was really one of the biggest file sharing platforms. So everything around illegal music downloads back in the day, I used it myself very, very heavily, downloading Linkin Park songs or hip hop songs from different artists. My first Eminem album I actually downloaded on LimeWire back in the day. And they were pretty big back then, with 50 million monthly active users, so quite an active platform, and especially big in the US and the UK and Europe. And they shut down the company in 2011 because of a lot of the controversy, obviously, in the music industry.
Right.
So especially the labels and a lot of artists weren't quite happy that the music is being shared for free without them earning any royalties, which is fair. But we had the idea like 2 years ago, roughly, to do something in the entertainment music space in the intersection with crypto and NFT. And then the idea was born that probably LimeWire is just one of the best brands to launch a company like this, because it's in everybody's mind. This peer-to-peer concept of the old platform is really what paved the way for crypto. So it's a lot of the crypto users, a lot of the NFT users today, they used LimeWire back in the day already. So we got hold of all the assets. We bought the social media accounts, the domain. We also re-registered the trademark and now relaunched it last year as an NFT marketplace for music artists. So yeah, really exciting journey. And now we're pretty much an open platform for any creator to join to build their Web3 community, and now also launching a token. Yeah.
Well, that's great. The story, very exciting. So we can get the idea. We are moving from the unregulated file download in 2011, now merging the Web3 blockchain ecosystem communities, and we are going to rebust this concept specifically within the music space. No, about the values, the mission, the view of the company moving forward. What is the proposal you are delivering to the users and to the artists that are going to interact with your platform?
Yep. So there's actually like a whole lot of pain points and issues in the creator economy for artists, for music artists, but also for creators in general. So today, if you look into the platforms that are existing today, you have the regular streaming platforms, like could be like a Patreon for a lot of YouTube creators, or Spotify, which is put your music live. But usually, if it's a subscription platform, it's really hard for artists to monetize their fan base, because they now need to ask them to pay a fee for like just accessing content, which might be for free anyways. If you just go to a YouTube, or if you go to the Instagram, you can see that content already. So why would I now pay for it as a fan? So that's a really hard story for an artist to come across. And then on Spotify, on the big streaming platforms, usually only a very, very few earn enough to actually make a living, to pay for what they need in order to do the art. Because it's usually a platform where only the really big ones can earn eventually, which is why we set out with the strategy, all of us very deep into the crypto space, and said, hey, NFTs and ownable content is actually something that might change this entirely. Because now as an artist, you can come to LimeWire, you can just create a creator page, an artist page, and every post you do will automatically be an NFT and fully ownable for every subscriber, for every fan, which means that you are not just charging for exclusive content, but you're actually giving something back. Your fans become the owners. They almost become like a shareholder, like an investor into you as an artist, because they now own a piece of it. And then they can also trade these assets. They can trade the videos or the music files or whatever they own as an NFT on the platform with other fans, and actually earn on the back of the arts that your most favorite artist is creating.
Well, that sounds so interesting. So you are covering the needs from the artist's perspective, meaning for a long time there's been this discussion about how the artists monetize their own creation, how they can hold their own property, but at the same time giving the fans the opportunity to interact and engage closer and benefit as a community of these artists. So, well, I think you are addressing all these new needs, no?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's especially difficult for independent artists in many directions. So especially the big artists that have a signed label deal, they usually get upfront payments, which is a bit easier for them. For independent artists, it's really, really tough to really get at the scale to really earn properly. Here is actually one example in the feed with Lauren Hueregi, who was just joined 2 weeks ago, actually. Amazing independent artist, but also for her really, really difficult to find the right way and the right platform to make use of her fan base and also monetize. And that's something we're really solving. She's actually coming over from Patreon, which some of you might know, which is like a platform for subscription-based fan monetization. She's moving all her community now over to LimeWire for the main reason being that we have this element of NFTs, of ownable content, where you don't just ask your fans to pay for accessing content and just watching it, but you're actually giving them a piece of it. And I think that's really making it interesting. And there is a lot of opportunities around it. You can create so much utility, so much, more of a closer journey between the artist and the fan than just with a regular subscription or a regular streaming platform. It's really exciting, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I listen to you and I realize how powerful this disruption is going to be. Make participant to the audience, to the fans. They can become some kind of equity holders from this to get these benefits, these utilities as well. That's quite profound. I think it's amazing. So yeah. Besides the main view, the mission, you also are partnering, if I'm not wrong, with Universal Music Group, right?
Yes, exactly. So what we realized very, very quickly at the beginning already when we set out last year was obviously we are a platform that is catered for independent artists very easily because they can just join. They always look for new ways to monetize their content. But for the ones that are signed with a major label, it's really tough to combine their current contracts with the label with joining a new platform. So we had a lot of conversations at the beginning with big artists that wanted to join, but they all pretty much gave us the feedback that it's extremely complicated with their label deals, which is why we then set out to go to the label directly, especially Universal Music, because it's the biggest music label on the planet, and figured out a contract, which is amazing for us because we have a framework in place with Universal on a global scale. So any Universal signed artist in the world, like anybody, can just come to LimeWire now. They can monetize their content and create their own feed, their own subscriber community on LimeWire. And it's a framework that everybody can follow. We actually have a good roster of headliners from Universal Music, which we are launching throughout the rest of the year. And it's really a nice framework for them to just join the platform and start their Web3 journey. And the really fun story about it is actually, if you know LimeWire a bit from back in the days, Universal Music Group was one of the big hate relationships to LimeWire. They were one of the main reasons why the initial platform had to shut down in 2011, because there was a big lawsuit between the two companies going on.
And they were partnering now with them.
Yes, there was interesting discussions at the beginning. We had to go through the board in Los Angeles with Universal Music twice. They discussed it quite a lot. But also, like, very big kudos to Universal Music as an entity. They really see Web3 as a movement. They want to be on the edge of innovation, and that's why they also see the benefit in working with LimeWire today, which probably would have not been imaginable a couple of years ago, yeah.
So you are closing the circle, no? After they understood the technology, the possibilities that this new technology is opening, now you can partner and you can help each other to build more utilities, more community, no? At the end, and more value for the artist. That's great. That's great. Could you tell us about within this partnership, which plans are you planning to do together in the future?
Yeah, we actually have a whole list of headline artists which we will launch in the next coming months. Quite a few of them are from Universal Music, and we are working on like constantly an exchange of new products that we can do together. But I think the most important bit is really that any artist that is signed with them can just easily come and apply the framework and don't have to go into the lengthy discussions with the label and with the publisher and everybody who's holding rights. Mm-hmm. They can just easily come to LimeWire and join create their account and join the platform. That's the biggest benefit, I would say.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds very good. Well, it makes so much sense. Let's move to the technical structure. Well, the token label you are launching is LMWR. It's going to get involved with tokenization and NFT creation, running with Ethereum. But also, I heard you have some kind of partnership with Algorand. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So there's two different stories. The one on the platform is the NFT minting. So any NFT on the platform that we currently do with artists is minted on Algorand, which is extremely scalable. It's environmentally friendly. That's one topic that a lot of the artists constantly bring up, what the environmental impact is. And it's very easy for us to also pay for the mint fees as a platform because it's virtually zero with Algorand. So a very nice technical solution. The token itself is on Ethereum, the LimeWire token, the LMWR token, mainly because our vision is really to take the entire creator space and NFTs in the creator space to the mainstream. We have a mainstream brand. We are talking to like hundreds and thousands and millions of people because they know us already. And we need an ecosystem for the token that is also mainstream, which is why Ethereum is just the number one choice because it's the biggest ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. So the date of the launch is going to be the 2nd of May, if I'm not wrong. But in Bit2Me, we are going to have available the token since the second week of this month. There are 13 days away. So once the token is released, what utilities is going to unlock in the platform? What the holders are going to be able to do with the token?
Yeah, I mean, the token is really the next big step on the platform for user experience. It's going to improve a lot of things, actually. So just a couple of key features. You can put the token on the platform. We will have LimeWire token wallets on the LimeWire platform from day one. So you can pretty much just transfer them there. You can earn rewards. So there will be a fixed percentage of rewards that you can get every month when you hold your tokens on the platform. And then there is a lot of gamification elements. So depending on how many tokens you're holding on the platform, you will also get certain tier level. So there's a LimeWire Basic, Pro, and Advanced tier you can get. And each of these tiers will get you access to exclusive content on the platform. So we have a couple of really, really big artists like Nicky Jam, for instance, is joining in a couple of weeks. And you will get exclusive content from these artists if you have token on the platform, which is pretty exciting. And then on top of that, which I think is the most exciting actually, is there's a lot of gamification elements around it. So if you are a fan, a subscriber to an artist, and you really help making the artist big and sharing their content on social media and everywhere, you can actually earn LimeWire token rewards. Or if you want to tip an artist, you can tip the artist in LimeWire token. Or if you want to pay for a certain one-of-one NFT, which is like a very rare item, maybe a voice message from the artist, you can also pay that in LimeWire token. So I think there's a lot of cool elements to play around with it and to increase the user experience on the platform.
Well, and that's going to be unlocked, as I said, from the 2nd of May, right?
Yes, 2nd of May, we will start the public sale of the token on lmwr.com. Then 2 days later, you can start putting your allocation on the 4th of May on Bit2Me. And then we have the token listed on the 16th of May. So 16th of May is really the day where it's going live on all the exchanges, including Bit2Me, and you can trade the token. We already have Bit2Me and 4 other major exchanges logged in. These are all top 10 exchanges. So it will be a very, tradable.
Nice. Very good launch, I'm sure. Well, that's great. Could you expand a bit more about the tokenomics, the circulating supply, more about the numbers of if it's proof of stake, if there were some participants during the private sale? I think there were. So could you expand on that?
Yeah, so in terms of numbers, there's going to be 1 billion LimeWire token. There's never going to increase in terms of amount. That's the maximum supply forever. We already did a private sale last year with a list of very well-known and big names as investors. So Kraken Ventures invested, Crypto.com Capital, Arrington Capital, HiveMind, a couple of really big ones. They all helped us get off the ground and build this amazing product that we built out in the past year. And they also have a very long lockup. So all of them, their lockup starts next week actually, when we release the token. And they have a 12 months lockup, and afterwards a 12 months release. So nobody's gonna dump the token.
That's great. That's really good.
Exactly. Same with the team. The team also has a 12 months lockup and then 24 months release. So it's really gonna take 3 years to actually get all the tokens. And now we're putting for sale the public sale allocation, which is around 10% of the total supply, which will hit the market immediately. That's like the initial circulating supply. There's 2 purchase options, which is pretty cool in my opinion. The one is fully unlocked at 30 cents, and the other is cheaper at 20 cents with 6 months lockup and a 6 months linear release. So if you wanna invest in the long run and get like your profits later, that's the best option to go for it.
Of course, everyone that is watching this video, you have all in the landing page of in Bit2Me, you have all the details, the white paper, and all the special discounts and prices. So you can search in deep. Well, let's move to the next topic that I think in the latest weeks is very, very hot, and it's the regulation. Well, you know, you are in Austria, so in Europe we have MiCA, but in the United States with the SEC, we are seeing Gary Gensler sweating in front of the board, no? Let's say to speak. How do you see the launch at this time, and how is going, you think, to affect, or how do you think countries are going to behave in this context?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, it's actually a really good time, probably the best time of at least so far this year and the last like 6 to 10 months to launch a token now. Because like, first of all, just in terms of regulation, MiCA coming in, the European regulation, it's tough. It's not an easy one, but it's definitely the best move by any like big countries that has been made so far. So finally, there's a clear way across all European countries, which has been really tough. I've experienced that before already when I worked at Bitpanda. It's really, really tough in different countries. And now everybody knows how it will work. We all have a date. We know when it's happening. So that's really straightforward. And I think especially in Europe and outside of the US, we are now seeing how much of an advantage we have with clear regulation coming in as opposed to the United States, which is really tough in the US as well. Also a bit of a headache for us because we have a big US community. So it's not easy for us to navigate in the United States. But I think it's a good timing. And that's the one thing I'm really surprised about. Everybody was talking about the prices going down with all the topics happening, even after FTX, Bitcoin going down to $10,000. None of this has happened. So it really looks like we are on a path of stability and hopefully then growth again, maybe end of this year, next year.
I agree with you. I think at least with MiCA, we are getting some guidance here in Europe, even for exchanges. You know, we struggle a lot with the regulators, the supervisors, but now I think there is a common frame that we can at least check, and we have this guidance. I think it's much better position than before, so I'm positive about that. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. Well, LimeWire is now, you said about music, is focused in music, but I'm sure probably you are considering with the YouTube platforms or movies or other kind of content. Is in the near future or in the roadmap to implement these new spaces within the platform?
Yes, 100%. Though we already support completely different file formats. So last year, everything was very much focused on music. And now this month, we actually released a new front end, which puts the content much more into the focus. Everything is based on a newsfeed, very easy to consume. And we have a very big range of artists joining now. So even Lauren Huergi is releasing a podcast every month, or they are doing video content and not only music. So it's very, very different in terms of the content types and also the types of creators coming to the platform now. So we are really open for anybody to join. As long as you own the content and it's nothing somewhat stolen from an artist, you can join and just release the content, which is pretty cool. And we also see that this is what the fans are asking for. Like, you're subscribing to get different types of content and get a bit of behind the scenes content, for instance, and not only always the same type of music. So from a technology perspective, we can support pretty much anything that you can share in a digital format.
We will tell all the Spanish YouTube creators that they have to join LimeWire.
Yeah.
I think they are going to enjoy it.
100%
has so much to offer. So
yeah, I hope they do. We actually have a few YouTube creators that just joined in the last weeks. And I think for them, I think it's a nice solution. You can also do the YouTube accounts, your YouTube content, and then just do extended versions on LimeWire and have subscribers there and provide NFTs to them. So I think it's a very nice complementary platform for a lot of creators. Yeah,
sounds very exciting. As we talk, the most immediate launch is going to be the token in the next days. But for the rest of 2023, what's going to be the roadmap? 2023, 2024.
Yeah, so after the token launch, we are going back to artist and content releases. There's a whole range of big headliners coming. We have one which we announce end of next week, then another one end of May, and then we're pretty much announcing 1 or 2 headliners every month. So that's really exciting. Some of them have extremely exciting content. We have a few with exclusive music, which will only be released on LimeWire. Some really big accounts, as I mentioned before, including Nicky Jam, for instance, was releasing exclusive content on the platform as well. So I think it's going to be a lot of artists joining. We actually have a backlog of, I think, 15 headline artists, which we still need to launch, and 8,000 emerging artists, which are on the waitlist at the moment. So it's all about the content for the rest of the year. Yeah.
I heard there are some artists, they are switching from Patreon, no, to LimeWire already.
Yes, exactly. So Lorna Huegre is actually joining. She's, which you can see here on the feed. She just joined last week. She's gonna start releasing content this week, actually. Nice. And she just joined from Patreon. So she closed down her Patreon community and is migrating everybody over to LimeWire now, which is really exciting.
Well, that sounds great. Good timing. Let's, 2 more questions. Marcus, I'm enjoying so much everything you are telling us. I think it's very, very interesting. The first question is, how do you see the Spanish community, the Latin America market, the potential there? How do you see it?
Very big, actually. I think especially like the Spanish community that's a crypto community we also looked a lot into when I was working at Bitpanda. I'm pretty sure you guys have amazing success in the Spanish market as well, because they're very tech and crypto savvy. But Latin America, I would say even more so. So a lot of the market, especially Mexico, for instance, is like a huge crypto market. Brazil is the same. A lot of the artists we are working with, like Lauren, like Nicky Jam, they have massive coverage in the Latin American market. We still need a native Spanish speaker for sure, because our community is really asking for content in Spanish as well. So I hope this is going to come very soon. But I think it's an amazing market, and for us especially so, because especially Latin American Spanish users are very much into the content. They're very big music lovers. We have a couple of R&B music artists which are big in Latin America, reggaeton as well. So
absolutely,
it's gonna be.
Well, music is part of the culture in Latin America. It's very, very in deep. So you can move so much people with huge artists, no, from South America. Absolutely. Well, it sounds great. We are going to close. If you want the interview, I'd like it to make it longer, because really, Marcus, I'm enjoying so much. But with the last year, 2022, it was a hard year for all of us. So many things happened in terms of the impact of FTX, Celsius, and so on. How do you project, and how do you think it's going to develop 2023, 2024 in the macro terms for the industry?
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, it's really, really tough to predict. But my feeling is, I mean, FTX, also Luna, these were really big negative events. And it feels like the market has recovered and everything is priced in already. So I'm not too worried about the next few months. It's for sure things like this will also happen in the future. I think we can't save ourselves from such downfalls. There's just probably the negative side of such a very dynamic industry. But yeah, I mean, next year we will also have the Bitcoin halving. So maybe it's just a year or two away from the next bull market. So I think it's really exciting. I myself am investing every month now, not even looking. So already trying to get into the market.
Dollar cost average.
Exactly, dollar cost averaging every month. So I'm really excited about what's coming in the next 1 or 2 years. I think now is the time to build products, to build communities, and then hopefully in 1 or 2 years you can see the success.
Well, it's been fantastic, Marcus, to have you on. I agree. I think the next couple of months and years are going to be huge for this industry, and the potential is there. I wish you all the best for the project in Bit2Me. Anything we can do to make people know about LimeWire, we will do it. So, well, please, all the audience, if you like this kind of content, give it a like. Follow the social media of LimeWire, where they update every day all the news, all the new features at the release that they are doing. And anything you want to know, please contact us straight away. We will give you the feedback. So, Marcus, a real pleasure. Hope to see you in Malaga or in Madrid if you come to Spain. And yeah, it's been great, man.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having us, and really, really looking forward to the launch on Bit2Me. I think it's going to be exciting next week.
Agreed. So, see you soon. Thank you so much, Bit2Me community. Nos vemos pronto. Gracias a todos. Chao, chao.
Ciao.